I just wanted to make a video on the 5 hindrances of Buddhism. Now, I'm no expert on this, and I think that's okay still to talk about it, but the 5 hindrances are something that the Buddha described as 5 things that get in the way of your spiritual growth, or 5 things that get in the way of meditation. But I think that the things that they are and the way that they're described could be useful for us generally in life, and also some of the ways that are described to combat them. So the 5 hindrances, according to Buddhism, are sensual desire, sloth or torpor, restlessness, ill will or anger, and doubt. Now, all of these things, according to the Buddha, get in the way, as we said, of a spiritual life. But let's just kind of look at them in terms of getting in the way of a happy life, because really that's all we need. So I mean, desire is quite straightforward. It kind of feeds into the recent conversations that have been around dopamine addiction and things like that. So you're desiring things that feed your senses all the time. It may be that food or alcohol, drugs, anything that's a sensual desire. Now, what the Buddha said can help with this. Is investigating the desire itself. What you can do is, instead of directly engaging with the actual thing that's being desired, you can turn away from that and actually turn inward to the feeling itself. And I think that's pretty good advice, even in the modern world. Let's take food, for example. So you're addicted to sweet things or whatever it is, and you feel the desire come upon you for your food of choice. And what you can do is, instead of giving in, you can actually look inward at the feelings of the desire itself. You can look at how it feels in the body, you can look at what it feels in the mind. And by doing that, you'll tend to find that you'll be able to counter this desire with an ability to just calm the mind and the body, and maybe not give in. And the more you do that, the less you'll actually give in. The next one, ill will or kind of anger towards others. I mean, it has to do with our fight and flight, right? So we're worried about something or afraid of something, and it makes us angry. And the main thing that the Buddha said was to combat this is compassion. So this idea of loving kindness meditation. But I think just simple compassion towards others is a really good way to go. You know, think about the other person's point of view. Think about why you feel angry or ill will towards that other person. Is it something in you, perhaps? You know, turn the mirror around. Then sloth and torpor. I mean, sometimes we are genuinely just tired, and we need to look at that, and look at our sleep patterns, and look at our eating patterns, and maybe look at ways to feel better. But if it's a constant kind of feeling, perhaps then it is just something to look at more deeply. Again, bringing attention to the feeling itself is a good idea. Just looking at it, feeling it, seeing where it's coming from. And sometimes you'll find that by doing that, the feeling will actually go. But if it doesn't, then you know you need to seek help in some way. Restlessness is pretty common. There's a rise in the diagnoses of ADHD and things like that these days, and I think a lot of it is to do with this restlessness and worry, this anxiety, not necessarily as a disorder, but just as a thing we have. And again, sometimes what we're doing is we're focusing on the worry or the anxiety of the thing that we're anxious about or worried about. But maybe if we focused more on the physical sensations again, stopped what we were doing, maybe took up a meditation practice, and looked at those feelings inside ourselves, we might be able to overcome them. And then doubt, I think, is a really important one. because it's kind of the antithesis of belief, really. And belief is quite powerful. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean belief in anything spiritual or supernatural, but I think belief in oneself, or belief in something, belief in everything, perhaps. Now, when we become skeptical, I think we become skeptical about almost everything, and it can bleed into every aspect of our lives. We don't trust others, we don't trust ourselves. And I think there's a lot to be said about trying to combat this. So the main antidote here is actually naming the thing, putting a name to the doubt. So we're again not worried so much about what we're doubtful of or what we believe, but actually putting a name, putting a kind of a true name to the doubt, instead of just thinking about it and ruminating about it. It's quite difficult to do, but I think, again, a meditation practice can help, or just a practice of just calming the nervous system and the mind can really help. So these teachings, the Buddha's teachings, you don't have to be Buddhist, I think, a lot of the time to take something from them. You can look at them with regards to your own life, and you don't even have to do any of the things that are said. But if you at least think about these things as an antidote to your unhappiness or anxiety, I think there's a lot to be said for it. Let me know in the comments if you have any different ideas, or if you agree or disagree. I'd love to have a conversation about this.